Afternoon folks, or should I say evening. It's just gone 7:25 and with my dear friend here, and God, how long's it been, mate, since we've done a session?
September, October.
Last year. Can't believe it, me and this lad used to be on the bank all the time, but you know, families and work and what have you, but forget all that. Yeah, we're on the bank, and this is the first time for me on a new venue. Nick's fished it. We're in Northampton. An absolutely fantastic venue. There's, well, I say venue, there's more than one lake here. There's, in the brief time that we've been here, which is only about 2 hours, we've walked around about 3 lakes, is it, mate?
Yeah.
Absolutely, all I can say is urban carping. And we're in a swim which, after a lot of debate, we've decided to pit our wits, well, certainly for this evening. We spoke to the owner, and the wind is absolutely hacking to our left-hand side. And mate, it just looks carpy, doesn't it?
It's absolutely perfect. Well, we hope it is anyway.
Yeah, we'll do a bit of a panoramic shot of the lake a bit later on, but we're just going to have a chat over a nice coffee. You know me and me coffee, I'm a bit of a coffee monster.
Yeah.
But yeah, you fished this last year, Nick?
I did, yes. It was my first time down here actually. Came here totally blind. You know, as you do with a lot of new venues, had a look what everybody else was doing. Thought, got to be different, you know, everybody was using chods. I thought, I'm not going to use a chod, I'm going to try something different. And wasn't happening at first. I had a big dustbin lid, as we call them, big bream. And then I noticed fish moving over the far side, so I decided to up sticks and move. And it just went absolutely brilliant for me. I was the only person, which isn't bragging either, I was actually the only person who caught that week, and the biggest was 36.
And just to add, there is a lot of weed in this lake. It'll come present more when obviously we show you the venue, and I'm pleased to say in this blog we can actually show you the venue, which obviously makes a bit more interesting viewing. But how many was on that week then?
There was 6 other anglers, so in all fairness, it was quite a bit of pressure. I mean, if you think 3 rods each between, you know, all those 6 anglers, and you've got all those lines, and you know, they were like pinging straight into the water. You could have glided down some of the lines. I just decided to be different, you know, and I think it pays to be different. If everybody else is using one thing, try something different.
Totally agree,
certainly worked for me. And this is what Matt's been talking about while we were on our way down here, how he should approach the venue, and I said, you know, fish how you would normally fish. If you think you need to be different after, then you change.
I mean, the old internet in it, just putting in, it's a wonderful tool in it, and I'll be honest with you, my first approach, I mean, you should never approach any venue from your living room, but a weedy water, I'd be inclined to get the old marker rod out with the old 3 or 4 ounce lead on and find a clear spot. But the locals, and certainly the feedback from people who fish this particular venue, are saying don't neglect the weed. So,
I mean, you'll probably see after, we'll probably look at some rigs, but I just fished my standard snowmans. I mean, I was getting people saying, well, you can't use a snowman on here, like, you know, but I did. But I'll probably explain more in depth later. I was using 2 pieces of foam on my snowman, letting the line go down, holding my finger on the line, and it was landing lovely on top of weed. Same as what a chod would do. You let throw, you know, cast it into the weed, chod's just up off the weed, the same sort of thing, but it was working for me. You know, other people would be mortified to try it. Trust me, it works.
There you go, and I'm certainly taking that advice on board. Certainly in the marginal areas, there's a hell of a lot of Canadian, and you might know, but Canadian is actually a good weed to present to baiting. But I don't know, what's the other weed, mate? Is it blanket weed or is it onion weed?
Blanket weed on the top.
Like a candy flossy weed, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the weed that absolutely everybody hates, especially if it clings to your line.
Oh, it's like snot, well, slime off a bream, I should say.
I mean, to be honest, we're quite lucky here where we are. There's not so much up this end. It's more Canadian, as Matt said, like. But there are times where with the wind hacking down like this, you get this blanket weed sort of follows. So you have to keep an eye on that.
It's looking good, mate. So
yes,
I think
it looks promising. I mean, I hope the viewers say that Matt gets one on his first visit, you know, lose his carping virginity on a new venue.
Well, that would be very nice, but it's like any angling that I do, and I'm sure you'd agree, being here, mate, A, it's better than working, 2, you know, any time behind the rods is cherished, and 3, if you catch it's a bonus.
Yeah.
So I think what we'll do now, mate, we'll talk through your swim. So I'm going to show you Nick's swim, and then we'll have a walk round to my swim and just have a bit of general chit chat in my swim and see how I'm going to approach it. So
right then, as you can see, Nick, he's in his swim. I'm just going to show you what's in front of him. How big would you say this lake is, mate?
Probably about 14 acres. 13, 14 acres in size total.
And where we are, as you could probably see there, it goes right down into a little bay. And as I say, speaking to the owner of this place, he told us this was a brand new wind and he'd been hacking down here all afternoon, and it's certainly been hacking down here since we've been here. So right then, mate, you've just turned up in the swim, you're going to fish 3 rods. How are you going to approach it?
Well, as Matt said, we've got the wind on our side, thankfully, and we do know that the carp definitely follow the wind on here. I chose this swim purely because I love to fish margins. I'm a big fan of fishing margins. As you can see from where we are, it is quite a deep area. So my plan of attack is obviously I'm going to be fishing 1 rod to the margins. But if Matt can just zoom over there, there's an area that cuts in where I've been spotting a few bubbles. And I do believe one sort of came out a bit earlier. I'm thinking of casting a rod over to there. And I did think of the snags, but I'm a bit wary about fishing towards snags. So
I'm just zooming into the snags now, mate.
it looks a cracking area, but I'm, I'm just thinking if I'd been using braid and fishing more with an old tactics, I'd have been all right. But I've decided I'm going to try the margin to my left. I'm going to try just off the tree here, and I'm going to be trying one further out over there. But I'm not going to neglect the middle. If you know what I mean. But there are a lot of areas I can actually go for. I do like to target visible features if I can, and if I know obviously there's an opportunity there, then I'll go for it. But more than anything, I think it's the fact that the wind's hacking down here, so I've got lots of options.
Yeah.
I mean, I can actually cast the lead right up to the far end if I want to. Try and see if one makes foolish mistake of grabbing an upbait.
Hopefully, mate. And just to put the viewers in the picture, boilies on all rods? Boilie fishing or
yes,
particles?
Or boilie fishing. I've opted to go with my snowman because that's what worked for me down here before. I've got, as you know, Matt, I've got ultra confidence in him, as you have. And also I'm going to be trying a withy pool rig, which is a variation really of a chod.
Yeah. It's funny you should add that because I've been using the chod for like the last 3 or 4 years, certainly this year to some good effect. But I was going to go with the chod, but picking 1 or 2 few people's brains, they were telling me, no doubt you know this, that they said the withy's one rig to not neglect on this water. I think that's going to be on one of my rods tonight.
The equivalent to the chod because, if I'm honest with you, I'm not a very big chod fan. I'm matted. I mean, he may as well be called the chod master. But I have done reasonably well on the withy pool rig. I mean, on a lake down in Derby, I did really well on this particular version of the withy pool rig I use. So I thought, well, I may as well try it.
Well, it's all about confidence, isn't it, mate? You've got to have a lot of confidence in anything, and certainly in your fishing. So I don't blame you, mate. But
I mean, I have got some super buoyant baits, which will be absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
But only time will tell. But looks very carpy at the moment.
Extremely carpy.
It's overcast conditions. I mean, it was red. It's been scorching all day.
Yeah, it's actually Wednesday today, but as Nick said, certainly the weekend, Monday, Tuesday, well, the weather's just gone off the scale. It's been absolutely, we've booked some time off from our jobs, our day jobs, and as I said to Nick, you can't book the weather, but you can obviously book the time off. And we thought, typical just our luck, but tonight the weather is just pucker. It's just overcast, light breeze.
The top on, like it's gone that bit cooler, like, but like Matt said, it's ideal.
Just one little thing I want to add before we move on is you said about a buoyant bait. Now that is essential, like the chod rig. I mean, if you're planning to have a bait in the water like where you are all night, you need an ultra buoyant bait because you don't want that rig 3 or 4 hours or even a bit longer into your fishing.
We all know with a chod rig, your best bait is a corkball pop-up, without a doubt, or if you can get a super buoyant bait that you know is going to stay up for a good few days, you know, I mean 24, 48 hours, some people leave them in for. I mean, I have got ultra confidence in these super buoyant baits, and I know they can stay up, believe it or not, 3 to 4 days.
Just to clarify, in a nutshell, it's just after 7:30, so for instance, say your baits are going to be in the water from 9 till 9 o'clock in the morning, you know your baits are going to be...
It's going to be perfectly presented. Like I say, there's a lot of weed out there, and well, it's certainly weedier than when I came down last year. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be using rig foam as well, and I shall double up on the rig foam, help it sink slowly, and gradually as the foam disappears it should sit nicely on top of the weed. That's the way forward.
Fantastic. Well, I think you've painted a nice picture there for everybody watching this blog. So let's pop next door and see where I'm fishing and what my targets and thoughts are for the session ahead. So we'll do that now, folks.